Welcome once again to the SS Maynerd YouTube channel. Have you ever wondered about reloading, or got looking into it and thought, man, I could buy all this reloading stuff and I gotta buy this reloading press, and next thing I gotta have is a good bench to mount it to. Well, you don't necessarily have to have a good bench. You could use your kitchen table and set your reloading press up to be mobile so you could mount it to that table and then take it off. Move it wherever you wanted. Maybe go to a buddy's house who has a better bench and just mount it up. Don't have to drill any holes in the table, the bench, none of that. So, let me clear some of this stuff out of the way. Set my wine glass down. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So, a good old standby is a nice piece of plywood. You don't want that garbage CDX or contractor grade crap unless you're going to double it up and use about an inch of it. But if you use a decent piece of plywood and just mount it to your press like you would a bench, well, then you can stick it on your table and use a C-clamp or a bar clamp like one of these. You can set it however it fits, and a deep enough jaw is important to get to the back end of it. With this particular press, I usually use C-clamps, as you can see by the clamp marks on there. This is a pretty old press. This is a good old Lee Challenger, way back in the day when they were making these out of cast aluminum, and this thing has served me well. Made plenty of ammo that shoots well under 1 inch at 100 yards, even under an inch at 150 yards if I'm doing my part. But you just stick that on your table there, bench, countertop, whatever, wherever you have room. Set a clamp on it, tighten it down, you're good to go. Or if you don't like the plywood idea, you can get that out of the way. You can use a great big steel plate. That works just as good, probably better. So I designed this steel plate, basically drew a picture, and had them cut it out on the laser. Mounted my turret press to it, and I can use same clamps. You want to get your clamp back as far as you can. That helps with your leverage when you're pulling it down. And I made this plate wide enough to be able to put 2 clamps on it. Like I said, you can mount them with the bar running down or up. You could use this type of clamp. You could use C-clamps. I wouldn't recommend using a spring clamp because they don't have a positive stop to them. But when you pull on this thing, the table moves before anything else does, and that is plenty of pressure, plenty of hold down force to keep your press good and solid. Works real good. But that's an easy way to mount a plate to the bottom of your press, and then you can move it around wherever you want. You don't have to drill holes in your bench or your table or anything like that. And for us apartment dwellers, this is a little bit better option because, especially if you've got a missus in the house, she gets kind of pissed when you go drilling holes in her kitchen table. So I advise against doing that. And in most apartments, you probably don't even have room for a big heavy bench that's going to be in a dedicated location to bolt all this stuff to and go. Unless that's your thing, then you can certainly find a way to do it. I'm sure of it, because where there's a will, there is a way. Point proven. But this thing is heavy. This one has got a piece of 3/16 mild steel plate bolted to the bottom, and I used some flathead bolts or screws to hook it up. They're nice and countersunk in there. They're nice and flat, just like the plate. If the camera will pick that up. Yeah, see, look at that. Awesome. Hardened bolts, hardened nuts, even hardened washers that are aluminum coated. Had those laying around. But this plate's only 1 foot wide, 4¼ inches deep, or 4¼ inches by 12 inches by 3/16 of an inch. And it makes it awesome because now if I want, I can go out to my folks' place and bolt it up to my old man's bench and start, we can reload side by side while we're shooting the breeze. I can take it to a buddy's house and reload on his bench with my press and don't have to screw with his reloading press. Or I can do like I always do and sit here at my kitchen table with this thing clamped up and reload until the wife tells me it's time to go to bed. Works awesome. Shotgun loading press, that Lee Load-All 2 or Lee Load-All shotgun press, that's the same deal. Have that mounted to a piece of 3/4 inch pine board that's I think about 6 inches wide, and I do the same thing with that. Just mount it up and start going. It works great. And you can reload a whole bunch of ammo for really cheap if you get into the reloading game. Anyways, just thought I'd share that. Oh, and one other thing. If you have a big dish, this is an aluminum dish that a buddy at work made in his free time. Like we have free time at work. But anyways, big 6061 aluminum dish, pretty deep. You can dump all your bullets or brass in there if you're running on a single stage press, or if you don't have a auto feeder, and you can just scoop them up out of here as you go. Really nice and handy, and it's a lot easier than digging through a tiny little box that bullets come in. If you've got one of these loaded with bullets, it really speeds things up. So keep that in mind. Take the dive, have an adventure in reloading. Thank you for tuning in. Always stay safe, and I'll see you next time.